Hello. Welcome. Welcome to this space. I hope you're well. I hope you're having a good time, whether it be succeeding or failing. I don't know. The spectrum is something that we're looking at right now in humanity, the distortion. I was guided to get on here, and the collective asked a couple questions, and I was going to answer them. So I'm just going to jump right into it. Let me see what this first question is. It says, what should we be striving for moving into the near future, and where should we set our sights? Is it good to have a goal? What's like a goal or plan? So the near future, like for me, the near future is more of an inner world. It's an inner feeling. And, some days we can feel good, some days we can feel bad. We can feel good and then something happens and it challenges our energy and our equilibrium. So, I guess there's the word equilibrium. The near future is irrelevant. And because what does that mean? It means, going to work, going to the party, going to the store, going somewhere. So, going to the kitchen, going to the bathroom, the near future, the near future is like, I remember studying Tai Chi and learning about mind power, Yi. Spiritual power, it's like the spiritual mind, it's that intention. So, we can definitely intend into the future, like set an intention, how we want to show up, what we're in it for. I've learned through my life and through my experiences in relationships that intentions, some people have bad intentions, like they're ill-intended, but that still holds the power of intention. So the power of intention is, that if you use bad intention with negative energy, that seems to be getting blown up on the planet right now. So I feel like where we're headed collectively, I feel like there's a lot of light workers. Maybe I'm talking to the light workers. I don't know who else I'd be talking to. Who else even cares about what it is I'm saying? So light workers, yeah. Where's the near future? I just feel like it's inward, and it's like if, to be a light worker, and it's not something you try. It's just something you're born into. It's gifts, capacities, and skills and interests that one is naturally gravitating towards. And I talk about it in my website. It's like it's this harmless hacking to a unified force, a unified source. So I think that we're seeing in the world is there's a lot of, dual configurations, this dual mind, the this and the that. It's like that's going to come to an end. At least for the light workers, I know it's coming to an end. The light workers are moving more into wholeness. When you move into wholeness, it's more living in the flow and living in the moment. It's not so much looking at the this and the that, even if, if something happens that you don't like, or that you just start experiencing it more, having a more direct experience with what's happening. So I think that the inner experience is something that we need to understand and be, more inclined to the education of the inner experience than the outer attainment. I feel like being aware, I've taught this for like 30 years now, aware. I don't teach anymore. It's, like I don't teach I don't teach. I am living it. But this is a sharing, somebody was asking me questions. And I come back to awareness. So awareness is just the God-given tool. If you can have awareness, awareness transcends intention, and it brings situations, circumstance, energies more into the moment, into the present moment. But, you know, the present moment is very mysterious, because oftentimes when we get to the present moment, we can open up, and I know light workers understand this, we can open up to this more multidimensionality experience. You know, it's the empathic skills, the psychic skills, it's spiritual perceptions, all these, you know, we have so many gifts. So that right there is, you know, focusing. I hate the word focus. I don't want to use that word, because some of us aren't designed to be focused, to be living in the energy of focus. But I feel like that's a very strong spiritual condition teaching, is that, you know, what you focus on. That word is just tight, and it's pressing, and it's tense, and it lacks femininity. So I personally am not designed. I mean, it's not that I can't focus, but to put that pressure on myself to focus on something is like putting water on a sandcastle, drizzling water on a sandcastle. Everything just kind of bleh, just it doesn't. There's no form in focus. So awareness is what I work with. So the awareness, you know, we can be aware of what's going on the outside, which is through the eyes. It's the third dimensional world. It's what we see. But then we can be aware of what's going on the inside, what we feel, what we sense, what we know. And this is more the third eye, you know, helping to awaken the third eye, so it can look within. And it is a different world within. But I do feel like this going within is nothing new for the mystics. But I do feel that the mystics are more inclined to be the natural leaders at this time, and going inward. When we go inward, there's a quantum response mechanism that gets activated, and it's a great way to open us up to our gifts. So I know life can pull you out, and life can be demanding and all that stuff, but I think that the future is headed towards like this third eye looking inward. You know, we're still going to have like I said, our response to the world, and we're going to live in that energy. You know, I like to be in the inner space, and when I'm in there, it's a you know, the judgmental mind can't exist. I mean, it can, and you can be aware of it, but its function, it doesn't really serve a purpose once you start going inward and you start employing and entertaining that world through awareness. We can understand ourselves in a way that individuates us from needing the other. And I think that's a big part of where the near future is headed as we go inward, is this need for the other really is going to transform. And the reason why is because the need that people have for the other has genuinely been built on a corrupt foundation. So what I see, what I am aware of, what's the collective phenomenon right now is that, you know, this system the matrix is imploding. And we're doing it. We're the ones doing it. You know, going inward, taking accountability is something it's hard for people to understand how to do that, but it is important to be accountable for oneself and how one feels, what one sees. You know, a lot of people have vision, and it gets shut off because vision isn't always peachy keen. It can be really dark. So there's in the near future, I do feel like there's a sufficient amount of darkness that humanity needs to become prepared to look at. And it is within. The darkness was within. The outer can reflect it. But the darkness within is just like the mystery who we remain, how we remain a mystery to ourselves. And the reason why we're a mystery is because we've become programmed into a predictable format. And that's not really, I don't think that's where the future's headed. Like when I really go inward and listen to the source that I feel very connected to. Sometimes the spiritual journey, which is what the whole shutdown of the world, in my view, was like an opportunity for people to stop and stop the machine. The machine stopped, and it was an opportunity to go inward, to heal our wounds. I mean, that's all I've been doing. I just started coming back out in this last 3 months, like back into the world. And it was almost not, it was like by choice. It wasn't by choice. This is, if one really dissolves this inferior self, which is, the ego that is basically a child that is afraid it's not going to get what it wants. To dissolve that, to allow that to lose its grip is a direct, that in itself is like being a spiritual warrior, because that act alone amplifies or reflects the fact that the world is governed off of this, infantile ego that is so determined to get what it wants and acts like it thinks that that's like the nature of life. And that couldn't be further from the truth. And I think that that's what we're going to be headed towards in the near future, is that the foundation that, humanity has built itself on couldn't be further from the truth. So it's an interesting time for me, because I've been a truth speaker. There's these truthers now, which I can, vibe with the truthers, intel, giving information about what's going on in the world, exposing the truth or exposing the lies. I'm loving that that's all really active, and these spiritual warriors are really speaking their truth. But then there's just the truth, the truth that is spiritual. And I feel like that it has relevance, even though it gets snubbed. I'm speaking from experience. Even though the truth, everybody thinks they want the truth, but then when the truth doesn't serve this little infantile ego that wants its, I don't even want to have to say it. Peace. I've heard in the intel that we're, headed towards 1,000 years of peace. And I think that that's a good trajectory to set one's intentions towards. But how are we going to get to peace if the foundation of humanity hasn't built upon a lie? How does, no wonder there's no peace on earth, because it's all a foundation of lies. And that right there is basic principles about truths and lies. So, are you a liar or do you tell the truth? This is a fundamental concept or practice it's profound. Its power and its potential for self-actualization. And I feel like the more we're honest, the more we get who we are, like from source. The more we be honest, the more God gives us who we are. I in my experience, I believe God likes honest people. God wants to empower the honest. Because honesty has clarity. Even if it's being honest about being not clear, honesty has clarity. And I feel like in the future, like in the near future, this is what we need to cultivate. This is where we need to focus. I said that word. This is where we need to put our attention, is into being honest. I think that's a great way to get into the inner world. It's like, and if you're not good at it, then it's a practice. Practice being honest. Okay, so that's my answer to that question. Let me read the other question. Okay, what is holding us back right now? What's our blind spot? Where are we stuck? Well, I would have to say that where we're stuck is in honesty, is in being able to tell the truth. I mean, I think we all have an experience, perhaps as children, where maybe we were honest, or maybe you were honest, and it got you in trouble. Like, that's just the worst, being honest and getting in trouble. But I remember being honest when I was a teenager, and it was about cutting school, playing hooky from school, and I'd caught wind that my parents had found out. So on my way home, I was scared. I was like nervous, and I said, it was my higher self. The I speak of is my higher self. When I say I, it's higher self. Yeah. It's not a small self. My I is not a small self. That I got shattered many, many decades ago. So if my I has power, that's why. It's my higher self talking. So I was in high school, and so I decided that when I went home, I was going to tell the truth, that I cut school, and I did. And it was really intense because I was up against, the whole parental energies and, just basically, I was a bad girl. Anyway, so I did get in trouble, but I didn't have to live with a lie. I mean, I got grounded or suspended. I don't even know what happened, but I didn't have to live with the lie. So I got to see it from a different perspective. And I got to see that I actually didn't like school, and I didn't feel nurtured in school. And it was no mystery to me why I didn't want to go to school. And I was able to see that school couldn't really hold me or support my potential or what I was actually interested in. So, that was an experience. And then I remember my only experience in the church in confession. I lied. The priest asked me what I was confessing, and I made up a story because I didn't have anything to confess. So when I was aware of that, I was aware that I was lying. Okay, yeah, so now I'm lying. I lied, but it was a kind of inverted phenomena of like wanting to be a part of the church. So I lied so I could be part of the confessional. Anyway, that was like, when I walked out of that confessional stand, it was like taking my apron off and throwing it down, being like, this stuff, this is too much. This is too weird for me. So I never went back. I'm just giving you some stories and some personal examples, and we do have, it takes a lot of courage, to be honest, because it can change our trajectory in life. And sometimes, the lies keep us complacent and keep us in an energy that feels safe. And soon enough, that's going to become all we know. So I guess that would be to this other question, what's keeping us on our blind spot? And I would say it's the lies. It's the lies we tell ourselves. It's the lies we tell our family, and how those lies have become part of what people almost believe is the truth. So that's the blind spot. So, I encourage people to inquire, am I lying or am I being honest? And maybe you're great at speaking the truth. So good for you, and you can be a role model, and, because it brings energy, it brings frequency. The frequency of truth has a different energy than the frequency of lie. And you don't have to be a rocket scientist to know what I'm talking about. So and the last question is if there's anything of value from our past that we can carry with us into the new world. Well, yeah, into the new world. So that, you know, a lot of people are vibing with this new earth, new world. And I'm all for it. You know, I feel like the new world is coming from another dimension of consciousness, which isn't gonna, we're not gonna get that from the 3D, from the material world. We got to get this new world from within. And all the light workers that are gonna watch this know exactly what I'm talking about. You guys have your own practices, and I'm just here, you know, to encourage and to, you know, bring light to these questions and to humanity. You know, it's funny. I had somebody like attack my YouTube station and take me to like another person, like took my content to another person and was trying to she was a whistleblower and she was whistleblowing me. So that was amazing. Talk about like face to face with, you know, I've taught truth, I've taught awareness, and the real core purpose for teaching or sharing anything that what I'm teaching and illuminating is to dissolve the lie. So, you know, this girl had like was trying to whistleblow a real truth person. So that's pretty messed up. That's lost. Anyway, that was an incredible experience, and it was, you know, for me, it was like getting back at my empowerment. It was, you know, it was very strange how being targeted. I've been targeted this last couple years by these darker, you know, the darker forces are basically people who are lost and envious and jealous, and we all know those feelings, but sometimes people just kind of go crazy with them. And they develop what I'm calling in the beginning of this is like the negative intention. And they might even think that that intention has some kind of, you know, self-fulfillment in it. So this is very complicated, but, you know, this message is for people who are inclined towards the truth. And the truth does bring clarity. The truth doesn't shackle us to each other, whereas the lies do. And the lies create these binding contracts, which people are stuck in. I see a lot of people stuck in binding contracts, and the binding contracts I'm referring to are more on the Akashic level. And we have the power to clear this. We have the power to, like, the Akashic records are like the organic, it's the internet that's always available. You don't need to get online. You can be online. And I know the light workers understand what I'm talking about here. So, and there's a vast amount of information in the consciousness field that we live in. So, you know, big lie is this, you know, the whole, anyway, lies are coming out. So wait, I forgot, I didn't see what this, oh, what do we carry into the new world or world experiences? Well, I've already said, what will be relevant in the new 5D? Well, I think the words peace and prosperity. I think, you know, timelines are very much an illusion. I think that the time that we're put into in the 3D is part of a program, and it's designed to keep people untapped. And, you know, people, the spiritual being is amazing, even in the conditioned world. You know, the spiritual energy inside the individual wants to break through. It wants to have its life, its breath. So that's what I don't really have any kind of prescription. I'm not a visionary like that. I'm not seeing, like, you know, castles in the sky. I'm not seeing, you know, worlds inside the earth. I really feel that, the only reason why any of this exists is because inside the form is consciousness, and each individual is like a walking fractal of consciousness. So exploring the potential of that, it's not so much like, that like, let's go build utopia. I mean, that would be so cool. I'm not dissing that, but if we're going to build utopia and then bring all this kind of low-based, deceptive, kind of way, that's just like carrying, the shit in the bucket and trying to think that you're gonna like it's gonna be better because you got like gold bathtub faucets and a beautiful fountain out in the front yard. I mean, these things bring beauty for sure, but my answer would be to find that within, find the gold within, become golden within. That's the golden era. The golden era becomes golden as we discover our own golden light, our own divinity, our own connection to source. That right there will never die. As long as we breathe the air and we perceive this reality through 5 senses, 6 senses, however, we are ultimately our abundance comes from being connected to source, and source connection comes from within. And the other can be a catalyst, and it can be a catalyst through the darkness or through the light. And I guess that's another big thing, is that the darkness, we need to embrace the darkness and disempower its power over our lives. And the darkness really is about the unknown, and it's about the unresolved, and it's what ultimately the humanity has become unwilling to look at on the inside. And ultimately, when we get to the root of it, we see that we are the creators of our reality. We are the creator itself. And so, how did we co-create this world that isn't, it's without judgment. It's just time to change the stage. It's a set design shift. But like anything, that you can't build a new house until you take the old one down, and that's what's going on the planet right now. So we can be good at the demolition, and our own vessel is like a house. It's where we live. We live inside our vessel. So what kind of boxes are still existing in your attic up here that you don't need? It's a lot of old programming. I mean, there's just always so much to look at inside, and eventually we can be awakened to a stream of consciousness that is like a telephone line with source, which a lot of light workers have, and that's a really amazing thing. So I feel like that's what the future is. It's feeling our connection to source and building and transmitting through that energy, building connections, building relationships through our connection with source. And once an individual becomes self-fulfilled or source-fulfilled, it really does eliminate a lot of the homogenized, the interest of the homogenized world. And wherever they get the accolades. So I guess that's what I'm offering up. And I could do this video like in a year, and I'll probably say the same thing as far as awareness and going thin. But hopefully it'll be more about like, you know, a certain kind of awareness that's a conscious awareness that's established on this planet within the individual. I mean, it has to be within the individual. How else is this going to partake on planet Earth other than through the individual, through you? So that's where the new Earth lives. It's inside of you. And the 5D is everything that's unseen. And the 3D is the world that we see and, you know, touch and manifest in. And the 4D, yeah, that's my little, maybe I'll do a video on that by itself, because the 4D is quite amazing. And okay, well, that wasn't a question though, so we're not going to go there. But thanks for watching. I hope that you got something out of this, and may you be blessed on your journey and feel delight and inspiration. And, you know, I would like to know, I would like to see people be connected more to source, like source connected. And the thing is, you're not source connected. So it's already there. Okay, have a great day.